and this kind of a secret operation information was tweeted, and the result is a helicopter disaster. Egypt, everyone knows about this revolution, and coincidentally I was there in that place, and I seen it myself very closely, up front and close. So this is very close to my heart. This is a gentleman who actually is known to be the major influencer in this event. That means he has tweeted, he has actually written, and stuff like that. So what we did is we did find out what various patterns, analysis, and all those things. We tried to find out whether is he the same guy, is he the only guy, or is there someone else also? So we found out that he's got about 86,000 odd Twitter followers. Okay, reactions generated is whenever he tweets, how many people actually react, respond, reply, retweet, stuff like that. So for reaction generated is 3,291, which is approximately per 1,000 followers, there are 38 reactions. So it's a good enough, because for example, if I send 100 tweets, I think probably I'll get one retweet or even a reply. But we found out another guy who's got only 6,900 followers, but the number of reactions generated is 1,281. So his reactions per 1,000 followers is 186, much higher. So although Wael Ghoam, who was known to be the influencer in this entire Egypt revolution, his mass following or influence was much lower than the other person. So it's not necessary that number of followers is equivalent to the number of reactions. So a lesser number of followers can actually generate more number of reaction, and hence there is a totally different type of impact. So therefore, it's not always, you don't need to look at the number of followers and reaction. Now, if I look at the same kind of Twitter followers, Justin Bieber, so he's got world's largest 7.4 million, reactions generated on 2.94. So hence, he's not at all a mass influencer. Okay, he's 0.04. So on tweet profile, that means if he goes into a mass Arab revolution kind of a stuff, he's nowhere there. So that's something like, this helps the law enforcement to identify the person who's creating the nuance or who's actually doing the right work. So it can be either dark side of it or it's a bright spot. So when we also did a sentiment analysis when Mr. Anna Hazare was actually having his fast. So there was a lot of positivity, there was a little bit of negativity and all those things. But I'm saying we can always find out who's actually sending the wrong tweets or spreading the wrong message and who's spreading the right message. So a little bit of Gyan slide. So what we need to do in the social intelligence part of it is definitely a planning and direction. You cannot do any project, forget about social media, but any of the projects, there has to be a planning. You need to know what policy you want to imply and what do you want to achieve out of that entire object. Then you need to have the collection. So you just don't need the open source intelligence, which is the Facebook part of it. You need also the geographical information. The one which I showed, the dashboard, I couldn't show the other one because the Google Earth link was not running on my laptop. So I can actually do a geospatial linkage. I can tell you that the tweet person who has actually generated the tweet about whatever wrong or right, where is he located? So it can actually show you on the Google map that this guy, this ID is generated from this place. So I know from which location he's doing it. And the second part of it, so if he is actually generating multiple wrong messages, enforcement can take decision on going and catching him. So or doing whatever is under the legal premises. Processing exploration, so this is the analysis and then analysis and protection. So these are the 5 stages we need to follow in any intelligence cycle. Breaking up into further or consolidating into further, there are only 3 things, what we call as a MAD, monitor, analyze and disseminate. So monitor I've shown you as a dashboard, so that's a monitoring. So there's an analysis, so there are tools which can help you analyze the data, bring down the right information, and finally is a dissemination. So it's not that what Mr. Garg was talking about, dissemination of that information. After I know that there's going to be a traffic problem at a location A because of a riot, I need to disseminate that information to various people so that they don't take that route. They avoid that location. or they take a detour. So that's the very important information. Or the center sends the information to state saying that there's going to be an issue because there are a number of people who are instigating emotions in your state with respect to X, Y, Z. So that's the information dissemination. So I said I'll not talk about IBM, but there's one slide I have to keep because they pay my salary. So what we do is we do this entire project, the social media monitoring and analytics, by 3 products, which is CopLink. Most of the states in US run on CopLink. It's an integration tool which collects data from various disparate databases and gives you one single view of any person, crime, criminal, and stuff like that. Then there's a social patterns and trend analysis solution based on Cognos. It tells you, gives you an sentiment analysis in which whether it's good or bad, it's give you that kind of a view. And then there is a predictive analytics which you do. So for example, some of the police departments use our tools to predict if there is a rain going to happen and the street lights are dark, there are about 5 cars parked in that area, what is the probability of a carjacking in that region? So that's what they actually know in advance. Hence, they deploy additional police forces in that region. So that's a Memphis Police Department. If you go to YouTube, put Memphis Police Department as a tag, you will get that video. It's a live video which runs and shows that how we are doing the analytics running there. This is my last slide. The 4 things that very important. I see a lot of government departments want to do social media work, but social media analytics is not advertising. Please don't engage normal commercial social media advertising firms who are actually brilliant in their creatives, but they are not supposed to be the law enforcement analytics people. So they don't understand the mission behind it. They only know the beauty of how to do it. The second is use a system that complies with the policies, because there's always offensive and there's always a defensive. So you need to see where is the thin line, and we should go by the legal structures. Third is all of this information gathering and all those things which is done by the police is not usable if they don't save it and create in a case file which is relevant, which can be submitted in the court of law for prosecution. So there needs to be a tool which actually does this entire case filing. So that is very required. And you need to have an integrated system. You cannot actually have only a Facebook and try to see a Facebook. Imagine 9,000 posts every day. Even if there are 2 people sitting and looking at 9,000 images or posts, I'm sure they are going to miss about 100 or 200 of them. And what if those 100 and 200, one of them is about a bag which is left unidentified on that street for more than 2 hours, and there's a bomb blast after that? So you cannot rely only on the human part of it. You need to actually integrate the human intelligence, geographical intelligence, as well as the social media intelligence. And I did not write the signals intelligence also. And that's it. Thanks for the time. Please visit our booth. We have actually set up the live demos of the same at our booth also. Thank you so much.